Okay, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Depends on what part of the world it is that you're joining me from. You are very welcome to this webinar. In case you're meeting me for the very first time, my name is Sheyi Agbede. I am the Leadership Growth Enabler and a Learning and Development Specialist. I help individuals and organizations to discover clarity and become the very best versions of themselves through coaching and training interventions. And this is just one of the many interventions it is that we use to push that. Now, as you know, today is International Women's Day. So happy International Women's Day to everyone out there, not just to the women, right? To everyone out there. It's either you're a woman or you're a woman ally. I'm a woman ally. I support the women as much as possible. And that's why we're doing this today. So the whole month of March, all our activities are geared towards supporting the women as much as possible. For those that listened to my radio station yesterday on Phoenix FM, it was all about the women as well. It was a special dedication to the women, and every other activity we're going to do in the month of March is going to be dedicated towards the women. So I'm excited to be doing this. This is the third year currently that we've been doing that, and we're not planning to stop anytime soon. So if you are in and around, please get everybody in. We are going to be having a wonderful time today. It promises to be a great conversation. My guest is already in the house, and we will be, getting off shortly. We'll be getting her on board shortly. Okay, so it's not something that you want to miss. Okay, so our conversation today is going to be around the science of influence, right? The science of influence. And I'm particular about influence. John Maxwell would always talk about leadership being influence, right? Leadership is influence, which is what it is I'll be talking about today. So I'm going to be bringing up our guest very shortly. So right now we are streaming on multiple platforms, I guess. Yes, we are live on YouTube. Oops. So apologies for that. I got distracted here. We're live on YouTube. We're live on LinkedIn. And then we are also live on Facebook. So if you're joining us from any of those platforms, thank you very much. You're welcome. We would like to know where it is that you're joining us from. So if you could please drop in the chat, in the comments there. Tell us where it is that you're joining us from. Maybe what it is you're hoping to get out of the conversation that we have today. Now, in the course of the conversation as well, if you have any questions for our speaker, drop them there as well. I will be able to see the questions, and hopefully we'll be able to take them within the time that we have. So ladies and gentlemen, before I bring our speaker up, I'm going to play her video profile as usual, just so you have an idea of who is speaking to us today. And then after that, the next voice you're going to be hearing will be that of our speaker. So sit back, relax, watch her video profile, and I'll pull her up very shortly. Let's go.
We welcome Sandra Balogun to the Impact Leadership Live series.
Sandra Balogun is a renowned accountant, certified leadership speaker, coach, and trainer. Recognized as a woman to watch by the Massachusetts Society of CPAs, Sandra has made significant contributions to the accounting profession and leadership development. As the founder of Beyond Numbers LLC, Sandra empowers professionals and organizations with leadership development programs, accounting transformation, and financial literacy initiatives, driving them towards greater impact and sustainable growth. With over 7 years of experience as an external auditor with one of the Big Four accounting firms, Sandra brings a wealth of expertise to the table.
Ladies and gentlemen, join us as we welcome Sandra Balogun to the
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, we welcome Miss Sandra Balogun. So Miss Sandra Balogun, thank you very much for joining this conversation. We're so excited that you're here with us. I know we've just gone through your video profile that kind of gives us an idea of who it is that you are, but would like to hear from what we like to call the horse's mouth. So please talk to us. Who exactly is Sandra Balogun?
Thank you very much. Thank you so much, Shay, for this invitation, this conversation, and the thing you are doing with what you're doing in this leadership coaching and training. It's totally amazing. And for everyone who is watching, joining us, whether you're watching live or you're going to watch the replay, I want to say thank you and a shout out to all women and women allied there out there. Happy International Women's Day. Okay, great. So I'm probably going to start this question with a quote I saw 2 days ago that says that there are three kind of people who have a calling, people who have a career, and people who have a job. And when I saw that, I was like, this is quite really amazing. I've always known myself as someone with a calling. So even when I find myself in a job, I'm a person with a calling. So this is how, when I looked at it and I said, okay, how do I describe myself? I'm a person with a calling who is building a career and who is currently in a job. So that is who I am. I am an accountant by profession, by training. I'm a certified public accountant. I am also a leadership coach and trainer as well.
Fantastic. Thank you so very much. I mean, people have a job, people have career, people have a calling. That's a very interesting perspective. I mean, I know we're going to have a lovely time today. So, could you please share with us, right? You have an immersive background in accounting, leadership coaching, and training. So, can you share a bit about your journey? How influence has played a role, because we're talking about influence today. How has influence played a role in shaping your career till date?
Amazing. Great. So John Maxwell says leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. And I take that as well. When it comes to myself as an accountant, what has really shaped me as a person, when we look at influence, let's start with the definition. When we talk about influence, what are we talking about? Influence is our ability to be able to affect something, affect someone else. And I want to say here, affect someone positively. That's what I want to say here, affect, because we can have negative influence. We're talking in this context, we're talking about positive influence. And when I talk about influence as a person, some of the work I've been doing in leadership development is around influence. And this is to be able to help people understand that, see, you have a level of influence. You may not have 20,000 followers on Instagram or LinkedIn, but you have a level of influence. And when you understand what you have, you can start to know, how do I maximize it? Back to myself on when I talk about accounting, what has influenced me a lot is also when I ask people who has been your greatest influence. Many times, I would say 80% of my time when I'm in leadership coaching, it comes to people around our family, our close circles, our teachers. Those are the people who have influenced us a lot. So in place of accounting, I would say my mom. My mom was not an accountant, but she was a businesswoman. But she had a level of influence because I saw how she was making money. And I was looking for the closest course to making money. And for me, that course was accounting, just because I know that, this was a course that dealt with money and it was always needed. And, that might look small, but it's a level of influence. When I do personal reflection on myself to say, okay, what has really influenced you? What has driven you up to this moment? Because every one of us have things that are driving us. In fact, when I do coaching, I tell people that I know we want to talk about influence, but wait, let's even start from what exactly is influencing us. Because what is influencing us has a very strong hold on why and what we are influencing about. So I start from, okay, let's do a reverse. What is really influencing you? And for me in accounting, it was my mom and one other lady who used to be around my house where we used to live then. She was also aspiring to be an accountant, and she was really helping me, and that was amazing. And along the line, a number of things. And when you talk about my career journey on its own, what has really been a big influence for me is just the people I meet with every day. So that's to tell us that our words and our action has the way it influences others. So please take those things intentionally. Your word, your action is definitely influencing someone, and you don't know how much or where or the extent or the length, the breadth at which that level of influence you have, you go. So for all the women out there, let me focus on the women out there, whether you are a mom who is currently in just, I'm a stay-at-home mom taking care of the children or taking care of the house, or you are in the workforce, or you are joining those together. Every woman out there, know that you have a level of influence, and being able to understand what that influence is one thing, and how to start increasing that influence as well is another thing. So that's in the aspect of accounting, I would say. Then in the aspect of leadership, it's also based on what I was able to see and feel feel as I started the accounting career, there was something I knew that I wanted. I wanted to be that kind of leader that people want to work with. I want to be that kind of leader that's able to aspire and inspire others. That's why I say I have a calling. So when I get into a job, it's beyond the fact that I am getting a paycheck. It's beyond the fact that I am working with people. How can I make this better? And that was what led me into leadership. And thankfully, I'd always been listening to John Maxwell right from when I was a teenager. And when it was time, I was like, right, okay, this is the person that I want to teach me. And here I go. This is influence. Because at that point when John Maxwell was when I was listening to his tape, when he was doing this content, he probably didn't know there was a girl somewhere in Kwara State who was in the university that was in our room listening to him morning, listening to him at night. But when I moved to United States and I said, okay, it's time for me to take this to the next level, the first person that came to my mind is John Maxwell, because he was the one who has been feeding me right from when I was in a much more younger age. So that's what influence really is about. I'm going to stop here and allow you, Shay. Thank you.
Oh, wow. That's really amazing. You know, a lot of people go through life and they're not aware that their actions or inactions are actually influencing people either positively or negatively. And there you were, and people around you had influenced your decision making. And even when you had gotten to, even when you left Kwara in Nigeria and moved to the United States, and you wanted to start your journey to leadership as well, I mean, that was, you had someone that had influenced you and continues to influence you as well. And we can see, I mean, that person's name is boldly behind on your backdrop there as well. Incidentally, someone that has influenced me very much as well. I talked about, you know, John Maxwell, his definition about influence, so which is very, very fantastic. Thank you so much. So someone may be asking, in your own words, because we have heard of influence and different things from different people, but in your own words, what would you describe influence as, and why do you think it is such a powerful tool, especially in driving action?
Great question. So this is how I define influence. Influence is our ability to work on ourselves in such a way whereby we're able to motivate others and add value to them. Because to be able to influence others in a positive manner, it has to start with us. That's where we talk about self-leadership. You have to be able to work on yourself the hardest and the longest. You have to be able to craft a vision for your life that you are inspired by. When you wake up in the morning, you want to be like, wow, this goal is so exciting that I want to chase it. This goal is so exciting that I want to keep working on it. So that's how I define influence. Influence is being able to work on yourself so much that it becomes a motivation for others. It becomes an inspiration for others. And even if you look at what is happening in our secular place today, when they say someone is an influencer, really what you're saying is that that person has been able to craft a particular niche for themselves. That person has been able to hone something, and people are like, oh, I'm inspired about this, I'm motivated about this, I want to follow this person. And that's the first, so that's why the first place of influence, you start with modeling. When you are able to model it in your life, in such a way whereby you have done it so well, and now people are motivated by what you are doing. And then it gets to the third place where people now come in and say, okay, I really like what you do. This is really inspiring. Can you tell me how you do it? And that's what we call mentorship. And as you begin to grow in influence, learning the principle, learning the science behind it, because when we talk about the science of influence, what we're trying to say is that influence is not something that is magical. Influence is something that you can learn and you can start applying in your life, and you can start seeing the results. That's what we're saying when we're talking about the science of influence. It means there is a way these things work. Science is about explaining something, looking at it through observation and making that explanation. So it's something that works, and that's what the science of influence is. And why is influence so important? Influence is so important because people give their ears to the people who have influenced them the most. I tell people, before you go into someone and say that you want to speak into their life, you have to be able to make sure that you have built a relationship. I was reading a recent story of will I call him a messenger? It was a younger messenger and there was a older messenger. The younger messenger had a message from the master he was supposed to deliver, and he had a clear instruction. The instruction from the master was, do not go the same way in which you came. I'm going to send you through route A, but don't come back through route A, go through route B. And now the younger messenger delivered his message, and he was going back, and at a point he was tired, he rested, and there was an older messenger, like a senior messenger, who came back and say, the master told me that you should go through this route. And it was like, this is not the instruction that the master gave me. However, to cut the long story short, the young man followed the older messenger, and at the end of the day he lost his life. When I began to meditate on this and like what exactly is going on, the problem that was going on was relationship. He was allowing someone to speak into his life, someone that did not have a relationship with him. So if you want to influence people very well, you have to build that relationship with them. You have to be able to get that connection. Then they give you their listening ears, and they give it to you for good, because they know that this person has been a great source of influence for me. We have seen what this person have done, pattern over pattern. We have built level of trust. We have built level of consistency. So that's why influence is important. And when we talk about accelerating action, number one, look at modeling. When you are able to model it, in fact, you don't even need to tell people that stand up, let's do it. The moment they see you standing up, they are standing. It's just like when you talk, when you're in a group, when you are in a team, the moment you see that the leader is walking, the leader is doing stuff, people are just energized to want to stand up. They are inspired. If you can do this, then I can do it. And that's what influence is about. So when we're talking about accelerating action, what we are saying is that as a leader, you have to work harder and the best on yourself, so that people are just naturally inspired to say, if somebody can do it, I can do it. When I talk to people, in my leadership training, I say many times it takes one person to make a change. If you look at history, it's one person who is standing up and saying, I can do it. It's one person who is standing up and saying, I can make a change. So it's just that one person. And when that person stands up, which is leadership, when that person say, let's make a trial, what happens is that other people begin to build momentum and say, I see something positive in this. I see something positive in this. I see something helpful in this. And then they begin to put hands together to make it happen. So when it comes to influence and why it matters, that's how I define it. Working on yourself in a way that is motivating others to do the same, or just to even do much more better than you were doing. And why it's important, because people give their ears to people who have influenced them the most.
Oh, wow. I mean, so many nuggets that were dropped there. I was trying to take a few things down as well. Now, so you talked about moving from modeling to mentorship. That is really critical. It starts off with modeling and then you go on to mentorship. You talked about how whatever change it is, no matter how grandiose the change may seem, it starts with one person, and that one person might just be you. Some very valuable tips there, ladies and gentlemen. For those that are joining us from wherever it is, I mean, don't be a fly on the wall, just perching on the wall. We would like to see your comments. Drop your aha moments. Drop them in the comments. Someone will benefit from those comments. Now, thank you so very much, Ms. Sandra, for the things that you've talked about so far. Now, many people may underestimate their own influence. So how can someone identify and understand their own personal sphere of influence? Can you talk to us about that, please?
Great. This is really amazing. This is a great question. I was in a circle, I was in a meeting, like a training like this, and we're supposed to talk about ideas that you come about and leadership. And someone spoke out and she's like, I don't have a leadership title, so I don't think I can make this change. And somewhere in my mind, I was like, oh, here we go. Because when most times we underestimate our level of influence because we feel like we don't have the title, we don't have the followers. And we also underestimate our level of influence because of sometimes a misunderstanding or not a complete understanding of what influence is about. And this is how you can get unstuck from that place. Number one, embrace the law of awareness. What is the law of awareness? I want to say congratulations for being here, because this is part of the things that you get to learn when you are bringing yourself to conversations like this, and you're saying, okay, we've heard about influence, we've heard about influencer. Am I an influencer myself? Yes, you are an influencer. You don't have to have the title before you call yourself an influencer. You are a leader who is influencing someone already, because even as simple as a smile, when you smile, most times the next person just like, why are you smiling? And then they also smile back. That's even another level of influence. It starts with your attitude. And when you're looking at my sphere of influence, what would that mean? First, one, it starts with yourself. It starts with the people that you impact in one way or the other. the people who are affected by your decisions, by your actions, and then it also begins to spread. There's something I call the leadership sphere of influence. So imagine a circle, imagine a circle, an imaginary circle, and in the middle of that circle is self-leadership. Then if you put a line below it, there are people below you in terms of maybe position wise in your job, in your career, people that you oversee or you supervise. That's also a level of influence. Then there are people who are your peers as well, your friends and your colleagues. That also is another level of influence. And then there are also people who you report to, but you also have a level of influence. We call that the higher level of leadership. So when you look at your sphere of influence, it's not just in one part itself. It's people that are reporting to you, people who are your peers, as well as people you are reporting to. So now you have to start thinking about how well am I influencing in this sphere. First, how am I influencing myself? You know why? Because the hardest person to lead is yourself. It's easier for me to come in here and say do A, B, C, D. But now the hardest part of this is when I tell myself, Sandra, you have to do it. Because as a leader, what you want to do is you don't want to be a traffic light that is just tell people go, stop, move, get ready. You don't want to be a travel agent. You want to be a tour guide. What is a travel agent? A travel agent, if you tell a travel agent today, I want to go to Dubai, I want to go to Italy, the travel agents are amazing. This is your ticket. Have a good trip. You know, they're cheering you up and saying go. But who is a tour guide? When you look at a tour guide is someone that's saying, I've been here, I've done that, and this is the way to move. When you're going for a tour, the tour guide is telling you, oh, this city, this is where I lived for 20 years. This pathway is the pathway that so and so walked on. So a tour guide is saying that we are here in this journey with you. We are here in this journey with you, and this is the left, this is the right. So the hardest person to influence, your sphere of influence, the first sphere of influence is you, is yourself. So when you start there and you do it well, then you begin to, it's so easy to expand it because it's so easy to even teach it. So that's why when we come to leadership, what we're saying is, I do it, I show them how to do it, and then we do it together, and then I allow them do it. So I just spoke about 4 things. Number 1, I do it. Number 2, I show them how to do it. Number 3, we do it together. And number 4, I allow them do it. And you want to know the number 5 part? I allow them teach others. So that's it. I'm talking about the different sphere of influence here.
Oh, super. Thank you so much. I mean, I was trying to take down a number of things that you talked about there. Now, you talked about, interestingly, in the conversation that you had where someone was saying, I don't have a position and stuff like that. I remember about 2 years ago, I was inviting a lady because we have what we call the Impact Leadership Conference, where we host conferences all around, the world right now. We started in Dublin, but right now we spread to even the US. We'll be in Dallas later this year as well. We just finished one in Drogheda in Ireland, and we'll be in London next month. And I was inviting the lady to the conference, and she looked at it and she says, oh, the Impact Leadership Conference. She says, no, it's not a conference for people like me. And I asked her why. She said, because I'm not a leader. So in fact, I had a 30 minutes masterclass with her immediately to explain to her why she was the right person to be in that room. Because a lot of people feel, no, I'm not a leader. I don't have, and what they refer to leadership is what you're talking about, positional leadership, right? Which, according to John Maxwell, that's the lowest form of leadership influence that you can think of. So, and you also talked about the law of awareness, right? Amazing, fantastic. And then you talked about the difference between a tour guide and a travel agent, right? The travel agent knows how to get every part of the world. He knows how to get there. The only challenge is he has never gone there before. While the tour guide is someone that is seasoned, that knows the place, he's been to all of these places before. So the tour guide is sending you into a place where he has never been to before. And that's not leadership, because a leader knows the way, shows the way, and goes the way as well. And then you also talked about, the 5 levels or 5 spheres, or however it is you might want to call it. It says, I do it, and then I show them how to do it, and then we do it together, and then I allow them to do it, and then lastly, I allow them to teach others how to do it. And that cycle of influence and leadership will always continue from there. Thank you so much. For those that are joining us, I hope you're gaining value from these conversations as well. Now, people like to connect with your own personal stories, your own scenarios, because they get to see themselves in that scenario. Can you share a moment in your own career when you realize the power of your own influence? We would like to find out.
Wow, that's an amazing question. And to be honest, that one was it's really tough because to pick one, because there are different scenarios. But when it comes to the power, I'll give a number. I'll probably just give a different. Just talk about number one was when I was leading a community. I was leading a group in my organization at that point, and the commitment was low. People were not showing up for meetings, and they were not showing up for meetings because everyone, definitely the paycheck is important. And this is one of the things I tell people in my career, and I still remind myself, and even most of my colleagues who are much more older have also told me that in as much as you bury your head in that work, you need to be able to build relationship. You need to be able to build relationship. And this is why this is key, because even when you're looking at influence, when you build relationship with people, it's so easy for you to get information. It's easier for them to teach you stuffs. Rather than struggling and burying your head in 1 hour trying to crack a nut, you can just say, I'm struggling with this. Can one or two people help me with that? And they are willing to help you. Another one I've also seen is there are times whereby even in my career, I'm trying to get something that has not been done. But that power of influence, people are able to say, okay, if it's Sandra, we are willing to, let's give it a trial. It's really a strong power of influence. Now, back to when I was leading this group. When we say that a leader does it and then show people how to do it, for that particular group, I was able to get some work done, and then there was a recognition even outside the organization. And when people realize that, oh, Sandra was able to get this recognition, and with what she's doing, with the group she's leading, all this has helped her along the way. When we called for meeting, we saw people showed up because they knew that there is definitely something in this for them. So when we're talking about people being connected to you, you also have to be, that's why as a leader, one of the things you need to be able to do is get results. Because leadership is not talk, it's action. And that's why I really like the theme of this woman's month. It says action, because sometimes we are saying a lot of things, but we need to get to ourselves whereby we begin to get small wins. We begin to get small wins, because even when you're looking at confidence, when we're saying I'm not confident, what makes you confident is the action that you take. Just start taking action, and then you start feeling yourself getting confident. When you feel like, oh, I'm overwhelmed, or when there are certain actions that you take. So action is able to override feelings. Action is able to override feelings. So when you talk about in one area of my career, this little things, this things, applying them consistently has been able to help me build that level of influence. And there's one I get many times. I hear people will just chat me up sometimes, or when we talk, we're like, Sandra, I'm so inspired by what you're doing. Because of what you're doing, I feel I can do the same as well. People are like, in fact, there was one I got at the end of last year. End of last year, obviously, is when people begin to say, thank you so much for everything you've done. And I got it from someone, she calls me a mentor, but I call her my sister. And then she said that I know you because we've been in a good friendship for about 5 years. So she said, I know you are very quiet. So when I see the things that you do, even me myself, I am inspired because Sandra, I know you. And I just smiled, and I'm like, okay, that really is influence. And I said, and you know the thing about influence, when you're influencing people, that's why I said the first step is model, the second part is motivation, and the third is mentorship. So now, what is motivation? Motivation is when people don't come to you and tell you that you are influencing me. So don't think that when you are doing it, people will always come to you and tell you are influencing me. But it's when they get to the third part of mentorship, that's when they call you and say, see, you know what, maybe we've been trying it by ourselves, but tell us what is the secret. So in motivation, I've even seen some of my friends who I know that they are more quieter than I am, or should I use the word, they are more reserved than I am, but I see the things that they do and I know that this person is catching the fire. So you need to light up. You need to take action, and that your light alone becomes a light where other people see their light. And the thing about influence is that you don't have influence with people in every area, no. But there are certain areas whereby people see that, okay, in this area, this is something I can learn. This is where I can be lighted up by this person's light. And that's why even you as a person, when you are choosing the people who influence you, you need to look at them and say, in which area do I want to follow this person? You know the reason why? Because we all have our strengths and our weaknesses. So you don't pick one person and say, oh, this is everything I want to learn in there. No. You pick one person and you say, what exactly in this person? What is that one area that I want to pick out of this person? And that's why we say you don't throw the baby and the bathtub with the bathtub together. So you pick one thing and say, what exactly from this person do I want to learn? Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Sandra is dropping so many valuable gems for us. I mean, you rightly talked about the theme of the International Women's Day this year is accelerate action, and it just lines up with whatever all the things that we do. I mean, as an organization, we're passionate about helping minoritized communities. All our leadership conferences are themed accelerate because we want to help people to accelerate growth in careers, in businesses, and their personal lives. So everything just seems to be lining up. You've talked about a number of things there. You also talked about how action is important because action overrides feelings. So sometimes a lot of people have feelings about stuff, or you feel you want to become this, you feel there are so many things you feel, but if you don't take actions, all those feelings become dead. And for the benefit of the Christians amongst us as well, I mean, the Bible talks faith without works. So a lot of people have faith in quotes, they have the feeling of success in quotes, but however, they don't take any action to achieve that, and that's why they are limited in many ways. Now, one of the things that I'm passionate about is purpose, because I say to people, no matter how fast it is they're running, because when we're talking about accelerate, if you are in the wrong direction, and no matter how fast it is you're running in the wrong direction, you only end up in the wrong direction, in the wrong destination faster. So imagine climbing up a ladder, right? I mean, you've spent hours climbing the ladder only to get to the top of the ladder, and you find out that the ladder was placed on the wrong wall. Waste of energy, waste of time. So understanding purpose is quite important. So influence without purpose can be misdirected. So how can you help individuals clarify their why? You know, I did a talk for an organization about last month, and I was sharing with them how in the US alone, about $500 million is estimated to be lost as a result of people working without understanding of purpose, because they are doing the job and because they don't see the purpose why they are doing the job apart from the paycheck at the end of the month. Their productivity level drops, and as a result of that, it's costing the US economy about $500 million. So please speak to us. How can individuals clarify their why when it comes to influencing others?
Wow, great question. That's very deep. Clarifying your why. Your why is let me just start from why your why is important. Your why is important because it gives you energy. I was listening to Les Brown, and he was saying that when he was looking at his why, in fact, I'm still going to go further, but just to make a point, why his why was the why. He was like, he was supposed to do a particular job, and he said when he remembered that he had bills to pay, he was so motivated that forget about how I feel. I don't want to go to work today, but I have bills to pay. I have children. I have a car bills to pay. I have to get to work. I have to get the job done. Now, this is so what we're saying is he had a why on why he had to show up. And this now, even when we talk about bills, just like Shay mentioned, is really the lowest form. And that's why a lot of people gather. But beyond the bills, you now need to get to beyond survival, because bills and everything is what I call survival mode. But you need to get out of survival mode. You need to get out of survival mode whereby you get to a place and says, how am I living this life? I'm not just, waking up in the morning. I wake up, I do bills and everything, and I go back to sleep. But how am I really doing what gives me the best fulfillment? So first of all, you have to be able to understand, why do I want to do what I'm doing? So when I show up now, why am I showing up? Sandra, what is the essence? What's the end goal of why I'm showing up? Because you know what? Everyone is driven by something, whether you admit it consciously or subconsciously. And what people do a lot of time is live in the unconscious. And I need you to get out of the unconscious and come to the conscious. And how do you get to conscious? Number one, clarify your values. Clarify your values. And this is one of the ways you can clarify your values. Let's fast forward. Let's go to 60 years from now. Let's go to when you're celebrating your 80 years birthday. What do you want people to say about you? What kind of testimonial do you want? What kind of impact and achievement do you want to do? What are you willing to sacrifice for what you want to do? So clarify your value. Is faith part of your value? Is family part of your value? What exactly is your value? You need to be able to clarify that. For some of us, money is our value, and it's not bad, but you just need to know how am I using it, and how. For example, John Maxwell will say that money is a tool. So if money is your value, because you definitely need money to survive, that's what we spend here. For those who are in the Christian faith committee, you don't spend money in heaven. It is here you spend money. You spend the money here. So even if money is your value, oh, I am doing this because I have to pay. Don't let anybody make you feel like that's bad, or because I want to make money. No, that's not the idea. The idea is, at the end of the day, is, am I using this? Is this supposed to be serving a purpose? Is this supposed to be serving something? For some of us, it also impacts the value. One of the ones I would say maybe you should take, maybe it could be being able to add value to others. Because money itself is a currency. That's why they call it currency. I'm an accountant. Currency flows in the level of currents. So when there's a current, you see a flow. So what exactly is your value? Because the thing is, when you have a clear, compelling vision of where you are going to, and you are very clear about it and why, you take some time to really think about this. Will at the end of this day, will this give me fulfillment? At the end of this day, would this be worth it? Is this thing worth pursuing? If it's worth pursuing, the next question is, how do I get there? How do I get there? And when this, for example, when we look at mothers, one of the things I say is understand the season, or women rather, understand the season you are in your life. Because when I'm able to understand, looking at the purpose of what I'm doing, understand the season of my life, I'm like, okay, what exactly should I be aiming at this point? Because I'm being able to understand that life is in seasons. So even if, for example, someone who is saying that, oh, this is something I want to do. I started my career as an accountant, and I knew that was extremely important and crucial for me, because I needed to be able to master something. And when I was able to get to that place where I was having a very good feel of it, I'm like, okay, right now we can now start, progressing, adding other things into it. So when you're talking about purpose, when you're talking about your why, understand your value. Understand if this thing is worth it, and take critical time to think about it. You have to sit down and think about it. It's not something you can rush. Is this goal worth pursuing? And look at other people's example. For example, even if, for example, I see maybe someone who is much more younger and saying, I want to pursue money, I want to pursue money. The question is, look at examples of people who have pursued money. It's good, but how are you pursuing it is another thing. Because at the end of the day, you may not enjoy it. Are you pursuing it at the expense of your health? This is the only machine you have. Hope you know you don't have an extra tire. If this machine should break down like this, you can't pursue anything. So am I doing it at the expense of my health? Am I doing it at the expense of my family? Because at the end of the day, when people say it is lonely at the top, the reason why it is lonely at the top is because, excuse me, you did not carry people along. That is why it is lonely at the top. And the thing is, when you want to go fast, you go alone. But when you want to go far, you have to go with others. Have you ever, I don't know for anyone who has ever tried to walk a mile. If you walk alone, sometimes looking at, this thing is hard. But when you are walking with people, it's almost like you are gisting, you are taking action, you are taking action. Before you know, like, oh, we've gotten here. We just gist along the way and we're already here already. So, clarifying your why, take time to really sit down and say, what exactly am I pursuing? Define your success. Don't let someone else's definition of success be your definition of success, because you may not be in the same season of life. You may not be in the same season of life. What might be success to Sheyi right now is not success to Sandra, because I am in a different season of life. But it might get to another place where I might feel like, okay, yes, the values will need to change. So being able to understand what exactly is your own definition of success, because if not, you will never be satisfied. You will get to a place and you'll be like, so what's the essence of all this journey I've been doing all this while? What's the essence of 25 years of working? What did I get? So you need to be able to get to that place where you are able to clearly define your own definition of success. That would really help to clarify your why.
Very, very important. Thank you so very much. We need to get to the point where we can define success for ourselves. A lot of people get to define success by the lens of other people, by the lens of the society. What does the society predict success to be? And sometimes your society may be flawed in terms of that definition. You have the you have the right, or you have the responsibility rather, to determine what your success is and for you to run with that. Part of what I also talk to people about is how, when you're measuring success or growth in every area, I like to use the measurement of impact, influence, and then income. And many times I'm talking to people about income, and some people, the society has kind of preached to them that, oh, it's not right to have money. I mean, poverty is next to humility and all of that. And I say, because I do a lot of things around wealth creation and stuff like that, and I say to people, well, I'm called to the top 1%, and I need money to be able to influence as many people as possible. Our vision as Stacey Consult is to be able to influence 3 million people in 5 years with our impact leadership conferences. It takes money to do that. So I say to people, if you're someone that you're not really into money, you don't like money, that's fine. I will teach you how to make money. When you make the money, give the money to me. Me, I know what to do with it. Just give me the money. I know how many conferences I can plan with all of this and all of that. So that's very important. Now, you kind of, we've always talked about how your network is your net worth. You've emphasized the power of connection as a tool for emphasizing or enhancing influence. So can you talk to us a bit about that? What are the practical steps we can take to build a genuine connection, and that would help us amplify that level of impact or influence it is that we have?
Thank you. Great question there. Very important question. First, I'll start by saying that this has been said before, so it's not my saying. You are a reflection of the 5 closest people around you. You are a reflection of and if you are the smartest person in your group, please leave that group. If you are the smartest person in your group, please find a new circle. Find a new circle. How do you build build connection with people? You have to be able to be someone that genuinely likes people. This may be very hard, especially for people who have been hurt by relationship. And the thing is, relationship will hurt you sometimes. So it's called life. That's how life works. We'll have disagreements sometimes. But that doesn't mean that you have to shut the door completely to relationships. So you have to be someone who is thinking about the other person. How can I add value to people? Because at the end of the day, people want to move with people who have something to offer. And again, back to self-leadership. What are you bringing to the table? What are you bringing to the table? So if you want to build connection with people, is first of all, being able to genuinely like people. Because even people are able to smell and feel when we do not genuinely like, when there is no genuineness in what we do. Another one is come with energy, because attitude is contagious. You come with a level of energy, and you might feel like, oh, I'm not really the energy kind of person, but it's something you can build. You don't have to be like extremely high on it, but show that initiative that I want to collaborate. I want to be friends. I want to add value. I want to see where I can help. Those are some of the ways you are able to build strategic connection. You are able to increase your worth. So first, when you're working on yourself as a person, people will naturally see it and want to come close. People will naturally see it and want to come close. There is this word that says that a man who is wealthy has many friends, and not just wealthy in terms of cash. When you are wealthy in terms of value and substance, there are things that will be attracted to you. Like attracts like. If you want to be a person who has people in their own connection, you have to first of all be that kind of person. Another question I ask is, are you a leader that if you were supposed to follow yourself as a leader, will you follow you? Do you like yourself? Because if you don't like yourself, you don't like how you feel, how do you expect someone else to like you? A salesman who does not like his product and wants to sell it, how? And by the time you like yourself, what you'll be doing is, how can I improve on myself? And now, not improve on yourself just for yourself, because when you have a vision that is stopping at you, it is very small. But when you are having a vision that is including others, then you know that yes, you are really talking matters that we should be giving ears to. So when you are improving yourself, at the end of the day, is to be a blessing to others, is to be an impact to others. So that's some of the few things I would say. Nurture people, nurture others too as well. Nurture others. I'll give you other simple ways to be able to build is what I call the law of feeding. What do I mean by the law of feeding? Look around you. There are people who want to be fed. What do they want to be fed with? They want to be fed with encouragement. They want to be fed with recognition. Just by being able to give recognition and tell someone that, for example, you see someone and the person is wearing something that is nice, just say, oh, this is really nice. It looks good on you. It's lovely. Do you know what you've done to that person? The next time that the person is walking around and the person sees you, somewhere in the person's mind, the person's like, oh, maybe I would get another compliment today. You never just can tell. So even as little as encouragement, because people know that, oh, you even took notice of me. It matters. It matters. So it's not just the big one, because these days, when we're saying, okay, I want to connect with someone, at the end of the day, you're like, okay, what did this connection bring? Yes, you keep connecting with people, but be very strategic and intentional about your connection. You're like, okay, these people that I've connected with, who do I want to follow through? Who do I want to follow through? What are the people that I want to follow through? So those little things, nurturing people with recognition. If you're in the workplace, don't take all the credits. If something is done, share it. Don't audit, share it. At that time, you become a natural leader that people want to work with, because they know that, oh, this person don't think of themselves alone, they are thinking of others in place. So that's just a few things that can really help.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you so very much. I mean, we're getting so much value from this. We're learning so many things from this, but we know we need to gradually start bringing this home, right? I mean, the last thing you just talked about, you're talking about not taking all the accolades and all of that at work. I mean, my rule of thumb to people, especially in leadership, is when things are going well, share the accolades and all of that. And when they are not going well, take it on, right? Don't push that to, oh, it's because the reason why we failed as a team is because this guy did not do his work. No, as a leader, you need to step in and cover that person and know how it is you can, support the group as much as possible. All right, so now we've talked about, the theme of this year's, accelerate action and all of that. A lot of people, influence is only powerful when action is attached to it. So whatever influence it is that you have, if there's no action to back it up, we talked about the power of action earlier. So how can someone that is listening right now and is thinking about, okay, I may have this influence, I didn't identify that I had this influence before, now I know that I have this level of influence, how can I move from having just the influence to begin to drive real change and positive change in our society?
Thank you so much. I would say, first of all, start where you are. Like, take a stock of everything right now, and being able to know where do you want to go to, which we've talked about. Where do you want to go to? And there's a gap between where you are and where you want to go to. What are those strategic steps that I need to take? And what would lead to those actions is just taking courage, because right now you know where you are, you know what you want, you know why you want what you want. The next question is do it. Do it. And that does not mean when you're doing it, you're not going to fail. That was, I was reading a post, someone shared my judge, and he said, I failed 9,000 times or so, and missed 300 balls or something. But yet, what is it trying to say is that failure is part of the ingredient of success. If you look at most of the organizations that you see, mention them, the big guys, mention them. A lot of money is spent on research and development. And do you know what research and development really is? Is try and fail. That's what research and development is. Try and fail until you find the answer. Research and development. So I need to ask myself as a person. Last year I had to sit down and ask myself, Sandra, how much are you spending on yourself just to try and fail? Like, this is the money you set aside and say, Sandra, this is the money that we're going to just try and fail. I'm not saying whether you get it, but just try it. This extra fund for trying and seeing how it goes. So take action. You might take the first action and you feel like, oh, this didn't work well. What happened is you learned how not to do it. You learned a different way of doing it. You learned that this particular way will not work. So take action. And remember what I said earlier. Action overrides feelings. If you're sitting on the bed and you feel like, oh, today's just I'm just lazy, I just want to lay on my bed. And then you have a friend who comes in and say, okay, let's go to a party. But as you're just standing up, you just start feeling that energy, little by little, in many cases, except if you're probably just feeling down, you're under the weather. But you really start feeling that energy. And by the time you are out in that party, the mood has just changed. It has changed. So take action. How do I take action? Just do it. Just do it. Just do it. Thank you.
Just do it. Like Nike would always say, just do it. Right. You were talking about how a lot of people fail because their vision for what it is they want to achieve starts and stops at them. And I mean, the vision doesn't affect the world. There's a community of people that I work with, and last week we were talking about businesses, starting businesses, and I was talking about the fact that the statistics show that you are most likely going to fail as a business owner. And when people hear the statistics, why are you asking us to start a business? Okay, calm down. That's the thing. Now, the reason is, I mean, if you look at the statistics, 3 out of every 5 businesses will fail in the next 3 to 5 years. So the statistics is, while you're starting a business, you're most likely going to fail. And the reason, many times, the reason why these businesses fail is because of the purpose or the vision behind the business. Some people start businesses just because they want to, I need to make money, I need to show these people. Now that vision starts and ends with you. The universe, the world is not going to make provision for you because your vision makes provision for you. So if your vision is just to make money for yourself, the world is not going to make provision for that. You make provision for that for yourself. But if you look at the big tech companies, big companies in the world, I mean, take for example, look at Apple, right? What's Apple's vision? To leave the world a much better place than they met it. Now they are looking at the world, not necessarily the Apple company. The world will make provision for that business. Little wonder why Apple is one of the most profitable businesses in the world today. So your vision is very, very important. Now today is, I mean, we're celebrating the International Women's Day today and all through this month, right? Sadly, but truly, the women face more challenges, especially in leadership across board, right? In your own case, you are a lady, you're a woman, and you have been through some of these cycles. You have succeeded in some areas that other people may not have succeeded at. What advice would you give to women who want to use their influence to accelerate action, and particularly in this male-dominated environment? Yes, I know I'm a man and I understand it's a male-dominated environment, and that's why I've been talking about how men need to be allies, right? If you listen, for those that know, I'm going to listen to my podcast from yesterday on the radio show. That was what I was talking about. Men need to be allies to the women. So what is your advice to women out there? And if you have an advice for the men as well to support the women out there, what would that be?
Wow, amazing. Okay, Mr. Shea, all these questions they are asking me. Okay. Okay, first of all, let me start with what would be, I think some of the challenge we face in women in leadership is the fact that first, you know, we're a society, women are not nurturers. We know that raising children and a number of things, and people are wondering, like, how do you do this with every other thing that you have to do? Can you have the capacity to lead? You know, they look at emotions and everything. But one of the things I want to tell the women out there is, we have seen women in history who have done this before. We have seen, they are not so much, but if it has been done, it can be done and we can do better. The reason why the change we have today, why we're celebrating International Women's Day, it's because of women who have stood up. Women who, against all odds, they decided to rise. They decided to put their head above the water. And when you do it, please don't just do it for yourself. Do it for the next generation of women who are coming. Sometimes we know how hard it is, but we want to leave the world a better place for the next generation of women. We want to leave the world a better place for the next generation of men, how they see women as well. That they see it as a partnership and not a competition. They see it as an ecosystem and not just a sole one person benefiting from us. And for the men folks as well, when you want to build your organization, you're as weak as your weakest link. Let me just put it like that. You're as weak as your weakest link. When you look at cybersecurity, what did they tell us? You're as weak as your weakest link. Because when you build everyone, at the end of the day, even the society itself is able to benefit from it. So don't see it as a competition. See it as a co-partnership. We are partnering in this together. So for the women out there, it is possible. Put your head above the water. One of the things I would say is have people with like mind around you. Remember what we said, that you are a reflection of the 5 people you keep company with. These days, because of how the society is, we keep more company with people on social media than we keep company with people around us. So it means that the people you are following, you also need to be strategic about it. When you see them, do they inspire you to do something better? Did they give you change to say, oh, these are the few things you can do to maybe change this? And remember what I said, understand your season and maximize that season. If you're a woman, you are in college, maximize it. When I mean maximize it. If you're out of college and you're just starting your first year at work, maximize it. And if you get to that stage whereby, oh, I want to start a family, I want to raise children, maximize it. And when you're done, you're an empty nest, your children have left, maximize it. So sit down and be able to see what you want in life. Look at the different seasons that you may be able to, you would likely pass through, and see how you can maximize that season. And if you are in any waiting season of your life where you are feeling you are waiting for the next level, maximize it. The end goal is that no day must be wasted. Every day has to be used for something. We are building upon, it's precept upon precept. I'm not there yet, but we are building. And when we say accelerate action, we are not there yet with the kind of change we want for the women folks. But what we are doing is we are building upon it. And don't give up. Don't give up. Don't quit. You keep trying, you keep looking for other ways I can make it more better. So those are a few things I'll say.
Ladies out there, Sandra has told you, don't give up. Keep at it. And for the men as well, she has warned you to be good allies. Now, as we gradually begin to round this up, right, imagine you had the powers to transfer one of the features from the women to the men, right? Either a physical feature, an emotional feature, or whatever it is. What, just one feature, what would that be, and why would you use that feature?
This one is really, really tough. What would that feature be if I was supposed to transfer one feature to the man? Maybe I would say is bondedness. Why would I say bondedness? Because sometimes most of the women are more like, we want to be close, we want to have that friendship, but the men folks, many a times they're like, I want to be a tough guy. So maybe that bondedness is something I would say, being able to get to the place whereby you say that no, some men do it, right? But I'm just talking generally, to just reach that hand, let's bond, is one of the things that I would say. And carrying others along as well, because if you look at it's going to be hard, because when you look at a woman, most times the way women are wired is we are natural nurturers. We're thinking of ourselves, thinking of others. That's why they say that a woman's brain can think about multiple things at the same time, but a man is focused on one thing at a time. Let's say this is the goal I want to achieve, this is one of the goals this is what we need to do. So being able to carry them along, being able to look at bondedness, because when we look at in other areas, maybe relationship as well, most of the things that the men folks would be like, oh, all these things I'm doing isn't an evidence of you knowing that I care. We understand that, but another word, action, that we're seeing, we need to at least come a little bit to a level. I don't want to use the word calm down, but bring that reaching hand of bondedness, and let the other person hold the hand, and let's move up together. That's a few things I would say. So it's not like a physical feature that I would say, but maybe an emotional feature, right? Just I don't want to use the word being sensitive, because there's a lot of men, a woman can also not be sensitive. So it's not about being sensitive, but being conscious of the fact that that bondedness is key, rather than just independently, I want to go. Men are much more likely to be like very independent, want to get this done and just move up. So that would really be helpful.
All right, so men, you have heard her. We need to, take up that bondedness. All right, thank you so much. Now, before we let you go, any last words, comments, advice, tips for women and men out there that are listening right now on how to this about the science of influence and how it's the hidden power to accelerate action. Can you talk to us about
One
that?
advice I'll give for men and women is keep listening to Shay, keep listening to Tested Consults. That's what I'll say. And that way you're going to see content like this and you'll be able to build your influence.
All right. Thank you so much, Ms. Sandra Balogun. It's been an honor. It's been a pleasure having you with us. Share from your wealth of experience on behalf of myself and everybody on this call right now, and even for those that are going to listen to the replay afterwards. Thank you so very much.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you. Thank you, everyone, for listening. You are extremely welcome. Thank you.
All right, so ladies and gentlemen, that's been our webinar for today. It's been an amazing time being your host once again. This is just the first of the many webinars that we're going to be having in this month as well. We'll have other ones. We'll let you know when the next one is going to be coming up. As you know, our Impact Leadership Conferences are still on. We've done the first one of the year. It was done in Drogheda in Ireland. But as all our conferences, they are hybrid conferences, so you can join from different parts of the world. Our next conference is holding in London, right? And you can as well join. So if you are in and around London City, fantastic. You join us at the Impact Leadership Conference. But if you are not in London, you can join us virtually to be a part of the conference. And who knows, we might be bringing the conference to a location close to you very, very soon. I know we'll be in Dublin later this year. We'll be in Dallas as well. And then we'll be in Cork in Ireland this year as well. If you want to be a part of the conference, someone should be dropping the links for you in our comments section. So ladies and gentlemen, it's been an honor to do this with you again. And I would say to you what I'd always say to everybody out there. Remember, there's greatness on your inside and the world is waiting for you to birth and manifest your greatness. Go out there and be profitable, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye for now.
Thank you.